Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Nomadic Millionaire Podcast. Today we're joined by a very special guest. Our guest today, Fahy, has worked with top brands all around the world. She's worked one-on-one with Russell Brunson, and she's also been featured on Forbes as a leading expert in marketing and also outsourcing. She's helped companies hire people for projects all the way from $3 an hour to $20 an hour. So she really has a wide array of experience. And we actually have known each other since, like 10, 12 years back in New York. I think we met at a WeWork back in Manhattan. And then we linked up again in Bali, in Uluwatu, and now we're in the Philippines. So it's been a crazy round the world trip. But without further ado, welcome to the show, Bonnie. It's great to have you here.
It's so great to be here. It's an honor. I'm excited. What a funny way to reconnect.
Right? I know, it's pretty crazy journey, but super excited to have you here. And let's just dive right into it. Would like to first start off by asking us, what do you do? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey as an
Yeah. So my journey actually started as a balloon artist, and I made balloon animals for up to $200 an hour because I'm a hustler. And I wore balloon dresses and was real into it, and was being sent to celebrity houses in the Hamptons to make balloon animals. One of the better people in my area. Nice. So I got an agent, that all happened. And then my mom needed me to get a real job. And so I went from making really good money doing something really fun to making $20 an hour, having a respectable job as a digital marketing consultant. And it was really hard pill to swallow because I went from having the best time ever at my job to basically being depressed, overworked, slaving away as a freelancer. And at the end of the year, I had depleted my social life, and I had only made $16,000 that year. And it really hurt my heart because I had made better money as a balloon artist.
Yeah.
And
that's what I was just thinking, because usually it's the other way around. People go to digital marketing, make a bunch of money, and balloons you would never think, at least I never thought. Yeah. So what happened after that?
So unfortunately, I kind of came to this kind of come to Jesus moment where I was something's got to give here. And so for that reason, I went to an internet marketing conference, and being young and hot, my little 25-year-old self went and networked with some of the VIP rolling in on private jets, and they had a penthouse suite. And they were like, Bonnie, you should come down with us to Lavo. That would be so fun. And they ordered bottle after bottle of Cristal. And one of the famous internet marketers was twerking his booty in a Superman outfit, and the sparklers were flaring, and the Cristal was probably seeing the check. And it was $38 at the end of the night after 4 hours on alcohol. And so that was a light bulb moment, where I went home and I was like, oh my God, my life is forever changed. They made twice what I made this year, and they spent it on alcohol.
Bottles,
in 4 hours. And so for me, it was a moment where I was wow, if I'd be able to have the kind of money that they're having me to be doing what they're doing. And I realized that they had none of the skills I had as a freelancer. They didn't have the modern day Canva skills. They didn't have the video editing skills. They didn't do anything themselves. What they were quite good at is marketing and making money. They hired everything else. And so some of them outsourced, some of them didn't. But the point is that the skill set they had was hiring and sales. And so I was okay, to learn how to hire. And that's where my story began.
So then, is that when you started your consulting business right away, or what was the first business then?
I was technically a consultant when I was making $20 an hour because I was a freelancer. And so what ended up happening is once I learned how to outsource, I learned how to hire people for between, at the time, honestly, it was $1 to $3 an hour, which I know is an upsetting number for people. It's changed a lot since then, but hey. I was able to catapult my business. And so I went from making $16,000 a year to $64,000 a year, but then I wasn't working in my business at all. So it was all $64,000 a year of passive income. And I had actually gotten pneumonia at the time. And so I could not work at all. Right. And my business was making more money than it ever had before. And I was crying because I was this was something out of a dream. And because I was so passionate about it, I shared it with everyone I knew. I was you got to start doing this. And then I got a whole community of people doing it because I was sharing it with them for free. And then they got these big results. So some of them had went from 6 to multi-seven figures, and
Wow.
some of them like got like huge multi-six-figure contracts from the information I shared with them on outsourcing. And that was sort of the beginning of my journey where I was like, wow, like this changes lives. Of course, on the rest is great.
Absolutely. No, that's great. It's a great story. I mean, like, it's always interesting to hear how people got started, and to be able to use what you were eventually teaching people to like kind of change your life and then change other people's lives. That's pretty incredible for sure. That's awesome. That's awesome. I think I'm gonna edit this part out because I want to make sure the mic is getting this.
So should I be looking mostly at the phone, or should I be looking mostly at you?
Like it'd be like a natural conversation. So I think
Mostly at you.
Yeah, like in between the camera and yeah, I think that would probably work best. Okay, I just want to make sure it's picking it up, and then I think so we don't get distracted by exactly.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah, put it behind.
Just put it behind, right? Yeah. Just so I mean, what do you think would look better? Just because both of us looking at the camera the whole time might be not so natural. What do you think?
Well, if you're going to be, I think it might look better to have us both looking at the camera because, well, is it going to look natural? I don't know if it'll look natural or not. We could try to be 3/4 and shift the camera slightly towards the middle.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think definitely having the computer behind there because I get distracted and look at myself. So having it behind is good because then you can kind of see yourself.
Right. You're not going to get distracted.
Yeah, you won't be able to look at yourself in the eye, which will be distracting.
True.
But I think kind of like being kind of sitting like this and mostly looking at the camera would be better because viewers like it when you're looking at the camera.
Eye contact.
They want the eye contact, and you can use like software to like go forth in the edits.
That's true. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And everything looks good. Cool. Yeah, I think that's more comfortable. Like, then we could just kind of focus on it. You got a better view. Does that look all right? All right. So we'll just pick off. So yeah, with that, how did you then go from outsourcing to now what you focus on is AI, and how was that? What was the natural progression there, and how do you feel that it can benefit entrepreneurs and digital entrepreneurs?
I was teaching outsourcing for the past 14 years. I've been teaching it. Mm-hmm. And so in that time, I've really learned that the most important skill set when it comes to delegating and getting great results is having the ability to communicate really clearly. And the same exact thing is true with AI. So when I started to use AI, I started getting all of these crazy results and I was able to do so much more with it than most people because I had already mastered the skill of being a world-class delegator, because I could communicate really clearly for me to get these really weird results that no one else was getting, because I knew how to ask for what I wanted and give feedback in a way where if it wasn't what I wanted, I was like, ChatGPT, you're doing good, like, but you could be doing better in this, and this.
Good skill to have.
Just like a real person. So yeah, and so on Christmas Day of 2020, I discovered ChatGPT, and I was literally like a little kid on Christmas. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And just like a little child when they get so excited and they play with their toy all day long. I played with ChatGPT all day long as a digital nomad who was kind of like by herself on Christmas. And like it was my favorite Christmas toy, and it was the best. And so in terms of like the transition, that's what it was. And then how can entrepreneurs use this in their business to multiply themselves? So it really starts with using it as a messaging tool and starting to understand like the basis of what I teach my clients. So in the course of helping people multiply their output, helping people get anywhere from to over $1 million in revenue, the number one thing that I have done with people is basically given them a time inventory and figured out where are they getting stuck? What are their low dollar per hour tasks? What are the tasks that they hate to do? What are the tasks that are holding them back because they'd like to have the skill sets, but they can't, so they can't progress in their business. And through that process, we really look at where are they hurting themselves by being in their business, and how could they multiply themselves by taking some of those lower dollar per hour tasks and replacing them with higher dollar per hour tasks. And like, it's very clear, like I have a masterclass that breaks this all down, but like basically it's very easy to go from making like a fraction of what you were to multiplying 2 or 3x, simply replacing the low dollar per hour tasks with the high dollar per hour tasks. And what ends up happening is you end up being happier as well because you're not doing the things you're not meant to do. And so the same is true with AI. You can still do a time inventory. You can see like what's taking up your time. Is it proposals? Is it social media? Is it lead generation? And you can build systems around it to have the AI replace you and replace your authentic voice so that you can multiply your output. But a lot of people are kind of skeptical of
when you mentioned that, I was going to say it's kind of like being a solo founder, and then as you grow you start to hire people and you delegate, except now you're delegating with AI instead of actual people, which brings us to another territory of AI, which we'll go into, where people also have like a lot of fear about getting replaced. And so there is a dark side to this technology as well, and we'll kind of go into it. And what are your thoughts on that? We can touch on it right now a little bit.
Sure, yeah. So my thought process is that as a hiring expert, as a lover of people, as an extrovert, of which 50% of your listeners are, we can't do life without people. So extroverts become drained, depressed, demotivated, unfocused, and unproductive when they're not working around people. We need to process our ideas, typically externally. We need someone to bounce ideas off of. We become drained when we're not working with people. 50% of your workforce is going to become less productive if they don't have people to interact with. So I'm not a fan of any content that would suggest that we replace humans with AI. I do think that there will be many jobs that exist today that no longer exist. And if you think that your job might be susceptible to that, is very important. Swept by the wayside, because we're seeing already jobs that are going away right now because people are doing the same task that the AI can do. If they're not able to bring further value, a business owner is more likely than not going to say, well, I may not be wanting to write my own copy, but if there's a copywriter who can create 10 times as much copy with the AI, I'm definitely going to hire them. Or when it comes to video editing, someone might be like, well, if there's an app that can instantly add captions to my video, like captions, instead of having someone manually do it, am I going to pay, per video to get that done? No. But would I hire an editor to make my stuff look amazing and be so much more likely to go viral? Yeah. So you have to add value.
Totally. I think a lot of it comes down to not like AI replacing jobs, but I think like positioning yourself to be able to use the technology to set yourself apart. Because whether we like it or not, this technology is coming. So it's just smart to learn as much as you can about it. What are kind of some tools people can use? Like, what are some of your favorite tools if you want to go into that?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So for podcasters, a really great one is Descript. Some of your guests may go on a story. They may blurt out like a curse word and you don't have an explicit show. And like maybe you accidentally say something you want to. So that's a really great tool where you can literally take any piece of content and it'll instantly turn it into a text document, and you can delete large chunks, and you can actually make yourself or your guests sound amazing by taking out all the little ums, etc. That definitely improves the quality. So that's one. Cast Magic is a really great podcaster repurposing tool where you can take one piece of content and it'll instantly repurpose it in like LinkedIn articles. It'll find the hooks in the videos. That one will help you. It'll create show notes for your podcast. So that's incredible. Opus is a new one that's coming out that's supposedly very good. Haven't used it yet, but from my friends and clients who have used it, they're saying that it's able to find the hook in the video, which is really important because we always have to start the video with a hook if we want people to actually watch it.
True. That's important.
And it will take one video, long form video, and instantly make 10 videos out of it in high quality with captions and find the hook. And and it even rates it on how likely that video is to go viral. So that's a nice feature as well.
It's incredible. Definitely gotta start using some of this. Descript is definitely one that I checked out. It's super powerful for sure.
So amazing. Yeah.
And with that being said, like we know like a lot of emphasis these days is on becoming an influencer, social media to help catapult your business, get clients. So what are some of the things that you're seeing that are working for people that are trying to go viral, that are trying to build an audience and ultimately trying to make sales in their
business?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So I'm going to give you a little story.
Yeah.
So one of the people who I've mentored, his name is Mr. Grateful. I did not mentor him on how to go viral, to be clear. He and I have worked together in monetization, and through the time of us mentoring, he went massively viral using AI. So here's the deal. He had 3,000 followers for about 5 years, and he made a bet with the universe, and he was like, would it be possible for me to, in the next 30 days, get followers? He had just had a little burst. He had gone from 3,000 to 8,000 after being flatlined for 5 years, and he wanted to see if he could do it. So I gotta tell you, he did not meet his goal. He far exceeded it. So by day 22, he had real followers, and by day 30, he had followers. And he had the kind of success you cannot buy. So like 4 million views, 1 million views. You go into his lives, and there's people roaring and excited and saying, how can I work with you? And he's getting on the best stages because of this huge viral success. He's commanding the attention of so many people who want to work with him, right? And so how can people use that in their businesses? I might need a breath.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to do in such a short period of time, and I think that just goes to show you the power of virality. Also, the attention that is now going into AI. It's just a captivating topic for a lot of people. But not only that, like what it takes. You could be flatlined for so many years, but then if you make the right type of content, the right type of hooks, it can just like catapult you to a level. And so, what do you think? What do you think it was that catapulted him specifically to?
It's a really great question. So he has a multitude of factors. So in my time in working with a lot of creators, had the honor of having multiple clients of mine go viral in the time that we've been working together. And so there were some patterns I noticed like when that happened that I started becoming really obsessed with. And then I was in a mastermind, and like 5 of the people in there also went viral. And I saw there was like a super clear pattern. And so when I saw Mr. Grateful, that's Dominic, saying that he wanted to use AI-driven content to make himself go viral, I knew he had the secret sauce. And here's what the secret sauce is. So whenever possible, when we're creating like content that we want to go viral, we need to think about what is a shareable concept. So it really starts with thinking about what is like a wow idea even that like is like kind of shocking or like interesting. Is it something that's newsworthy? Is it something that's trending? Is it something that's going to evoke a really strong emotion in someone, whether that's making them angry or sad or feel like something in their heart, right? So that's the first thing. Second, with Instagram, production value matters a lot right now. So when it comes to talking head videos, Instagram has shifted the way they're doing things, and they've always really liked things that are good looking.
Yeah, this is true. It's all about the visual.
And they're staying on brand with that. And right now, they are really putting out content that is really well produced. And so Dominic's content is extremely well produced. It's well lit. He's got a nice camera set up. And he starts every single video with a hook. That hook has to do with a pain point of the ideal client or a dream or desire. So like, do you wish that you could have a different person creating a video for you? Well, what if there was a Disney version of you? I'm going to share with you how you can do it.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's an example. You can actually have the AIs create the hooks for you. We can go into that more later. And so Dominic used all that. And then on top of using a trending topic, on top of having great production, on top of using good hooks, he used the AI to script your content, his content. And because of that, he was able to get so much higher quality of scripts done and be consistent and get them done like every single day for his challenge. He was writing all these scripts themselves because they were really high quality scripts. Like it would have taken him like 5 hours just to script these videos. So he had a leg up there. And he keeps a consistent flow. He talks in a really casual tone, and he makes things really accessible to the users. He gives short, actionable tips. I call it the 3-step, where he's like, you want to do this? Here's 3 steps to make it happen. He's really, really targeted. Some of the things he's doing really well. People could.
Very cool. And people also want to get their information faster than ever before, right?
Yeah.
Shorter attention spans. Better to get to the point. But you mentioned something earlier when we were chatting, and you said that it's important to also be aligned in order to go viral.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit on that and the mindset?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so I had a client and she and I were working together on a webinar, and we got to the end of this webinar, and I gotta tell you, it did not go as well as I had hoped. It was my first situation where I hadn't all the key metrics went up, but we didn't crush it. And of course that feels sad. And so when we got to the end of the webinar, I said to her, hey, can I just ask you a question? I'm sensing like there's some like misalignment here. Like, is that an accurate instinct? She's like, yeah, if I'm honest, Bonnie, like I didn't even want to be talking. I didn't want to be selling this program. The only part I was really excited about was what we're talking about in module 5, which was the sexual module. She wanted to talk about the sex stuff for men, sexual confidence. And so I was like, she's like, I kind of have this dream. I know it sounds so silly, but I just like want to be a sexologist. Like I want to go to school for it. I want to be like that. And I've always wanted to do it since I was 15, but I'm just like so afraid people are going to call me words. Like, a lot of judgment. So I said, you should want to do that.
Yeah,
if the dream is in
passionate.
your heart to do that, that's what you should be doing. And so what's really funny is within that client, we did some mindset work. I helped her step into her millionaire self. I just built up her confidence. And I was like, you have got this. Like, you go get it. And within about a week of that, honestly, she saw an expensive sexology school in New York City. And she manifested like 15 months to go. And she went massively viral. And she went from 7,000 followers, flatline, had been producing podcast content for 3 years, no growth in her Instagram. 7,000, 13 weeks later, she had 83,000 followers. She also had so many people trying to work with her. She was able to take her rates from 2,000 per month per client to 5,000 per month per client. So she doubled her income.
That's insane.
Yeah. And the rest is history. She has a lot of success that's come from that.
Incredible. It goes to show you pays to be aligned and do what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
You know? Makes a big difference. Do you have if you could talk about, what are some of your favorite success stories with the use of AI, or a favorite success story of, like, say, a client?
So right now I'm working with viral creators in cloning their voices and helping them produce more content. And in terms of what they've been able to accomplish, some of their most watched videos are AI written YouTube videos. And so that feels really good. I think the thing that viewers at home need to understand is, like, people think that when you create AI driven content, it's going to be inauthentic, because what we see online is basically plagiarism, right? People are respinning other people's content. People are using other people's ideas and just generating content from what the AI has in its repertoire. But what people are not realizing is that not only can you obviously clone the voice of someone vocally and have it sound just like them, but you can also clone the writing style. And so we can input, like, let's say 5 different samples of your script writing for YouTube. We put 5 different YouTube scripts in there. Tell the AI, hey, I want you to make a detailed analysis of everything that is happening in this script and give me like 20 different specific ways in which this script is constructed, and do a detailed analysis on it in GPT 4.5.
Right.
And then you can use that to build a structure for the AI to replicate again and again and again. And then you can take like a rough concept of what you want to say, give it some notes, and it'll put it in this really engaging scripting structure, which platforms like YouTube absolutely require in order to have successful content. There's not many creators these days who are just free flowing it.
It's good to have a script.
Yeah.
It works. Interesting. And so then you could literally, we were talking a little bit about this, you could literally take someone's personality and have AI create scripts or write monologues or whatever you want. And we mentioned a little bit about celebrities being worried about this. There was a Black Mirror episode we were talking about where, companies can use their personas or their rights. So what do you think what's the dark side of AI? If things don't get regulated, how crazy do you think things can get?
I think that we have to be really vocal with our governments about how important it is to create peace treaties with AI. To avoid weaponizing AI. I do feel as though that there's a lot of copyright issues that are happening right now with artists, writers, and like those artists, 1% get to be protected. It's so funny. We were talking about this before we recorded, like how people are using vocal artists' voices to make fake Drake songs, and instantly they're pulled from Spotify, right? Because the record company is behind it, right? These artists are not. So we could create like a Banksy-like painting, right? beautiful, what Banksy would make, but it's not. We could get it printed on something like this, right?
Yeah.
Banksy makes $0 from that, and he spent his whole life building that skill set.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
But the technology is there, and that's, I mean, the possibility to do that is already there, right? So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting world. Like, and how do you see that proceeding? Do you think if no regulation happens, we're just going to have a free for all? Also, crime and stuff like that, like, it's probably.
Yeah, I think that people need to understand the issues that are possible with AI. So you asked about the dark side. We'll go there quickly.
Sure.
So the biggest dark side with AI is weaponizing AI. And I don't think the issue is going to be the AI is going to become conscious, become a robot, and kill us. What I do think is very possible and is already happening is that governments and bad actors of the world are going to create autonomous weapons, which basically means like a drone that could see people and then kill them with AI that you wouldn't be able to kill. And and like soldiers like may at some point become actual robots, right? That could be able to be fully agile. You wouldn't be able to kill them. They would have the intelligence of ChatGPT and then some and some spatial recognition. And so if the people of the world who wish mass death are able to utilize some of these capacities, and even if governments are, that can be scary. What's more scary is that they've already been working on testing to see if they could take some of the smartest students in America and have them create a global virus a la a much worse version of the coronavirus and create a global pandemic. And within an hour, they were able to source exactly how they do it, exactly what labs they go to, exactly what labs are negligent.
No way.
And so like the idea of like creating a highly specific virus that could like, let's say, knock out all people that have brown eyes.
Wow. That's crazy.
Is present, and that's terrifying.
That sounds pretty bad. So I mean, it was I forget his name, but the person, the Godfather guy, said he was stepping away. Although maybe that wasn't directly because of anything I think Google was doing. It was just he wanted to go a different direction. What were your thoughts on that when that news came out?
Yeah, so exactly. So he basically said that we need to be concerned, we need to be cautious. He had also spoken out about the United States creating autonomous soldiers. And I agree. He had mentioned that what we can do is start to create peace treaties where just in the same way as we have the Geneva Convention, and we've basically decided that atomic warfare sucks and is too hurtful and chemical warfare really, really unethical. I believe that it could be possible to do something similar with AI. I do think that there's a lot of concerns that even though that might happen, people follow those regulations. Sure. Yeah. And the counter argument from the United States or any other country is, well, if a gang in some part of the world gets a hold of an AI that can do some of the things we've been talking about, then we need to be able to police them and protect ourselves, hence why we need to have the counter. And so I don't know the answer to that. I really just think it's important for us to not close our eyes to these issues and put our heads in the sands, because the only way things change in our worlds is that we take a sense of empowerment and we say, okay, these are the issues. How can we solve this together? And we were smart enough to make AI. Could we be smart enough to come up with some solutions?
Definitely. I think that's super key right now. I think things are going at such an accelerated rate that I don't even think like our politicians probably realize how quickly action needs to be taken, because like a day in AI is like years in like, let's say the 80s and the 90s. So we're just progressing at a much faster rate. And so I think the next 5 years are going to be super interesting. And there was another podcast I was listening to, and this guy said that to wait 2 years for having kids because the world might be a super different place where you might not even want to bring a child into. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's pretty wild. I don't know if that was sensationalism or not, but I mean, this guy is like super smart. He's worked for Google and everything, so I think he knows what he's talking about. But do you see that kind of rapid change in the next 2 years?
Yeah, it's definitely possible, but I think the other thing that's important to say is that AI also has the possibility of making a world better than we have ever possibly imagined. And so, like you said, like AI grows exponentially every year. So think skyscraper, right? Skyscraper level, skyscraper level, skyscraper level. So if that's what's happening, is already at the point where some have estimated that it's as smart as 10 points below Albert Einstein IQ-wise, then next year and the year after and the year after, it's definitely going to become so much more intelligent than us. And with that comes the ability to never lose a parent to cancer, to have your dog live exponentially longer than they already have, cure all of these different diseases, to like slow down the rate of our aging so that we might be in better health and maybe even better physical health for a much longer time. And so maybe when we're 80, we're not going to look or feel that way.
Right.
And so there's all these incredible things, and climate change and helping with, bringing solutions around that, and, helping eradicate poverty. So there's a lot of different things that are incredible about it. And there's this really dark edge that we get to manage. So it's going to be through conversation, and don't have this answer, but I do feel like the worst thing you can do is put your head in the stands and say, AI sucks, we're powerless, we're doomed. No, because there's a whole nother world of possibility if we get to just embrace what we need to around.
100%. I think there's quite a positive side as well as a negative side of things for me, just about managing that. And we'll see how well we do that in the coming years. But I think the best thing people can do right now, like you said, is to learn about it and kind of position themselves in whatever industry they're in to kind of be able to make the most positive impact they can. And so with that being said, with digital entrepreneurs and people that are trying to be nomadic, I know you said you ventured off initially wanting to be nomadic, and then something kind of grounded you a bit. We can talk about that. But advice much you have for people that are nomadic entrepreneurs on a day-to-day, if you have any, or in terms of travel?
Yeah, there's so many things you can use AI for travel. Like you can use it to find the best vegan restaurants if they exist in an area. You can use it to create tables and say, I am located at this location. Can you insert what you want to find, blue crystal water and the best white sandy beaches that are closest to me in Bangkok, and put the exact distances and a short description of what's known there. You can use it to find the best of anything in that sense for travelers. You can find boat prices, where the next boat is to get to your next destination. It's really great. Obviously, there's some limitations with that. You got to make sure that your data is accurate and up to date. But with the web browsing feature of GPT-4, that's getting better and better. And in terms of digital nomads and how they can use it, it's a challenging question because there's so many different kinds of digital nomads. And what I always kind of bring people back to is AI can replace you in your business in certain areas. The answer is going to be different for every person, but you got to look at what's taking up your time. Is it social media, right? Is it lead generation? Is it being in your DMs and emails? You got to figure out what is your time suck that's taking up your time, that's blocking you for higher dollar per hour activities. And that's how you double or even triple your business this year. Find what you can automate, get AI to do that for you, and look for ways that you can multiply the amount of leads that are coming into your business. So that, podcast repurposing strategies, taking one piece of content and turning it into 10 instantly. Immediately crafting viral videos, which I was talking to you about before, like viral shorts, creating 10 pieces of content or 8 pieces of content in a high quality, in a day, right? So when we start taking the low dollar per hour tasks, I'm going to make something on Canva, it is so fun. I get it. Canva is a really fun platform, but it's great. But there's also people who can support you in that view at $3 an hour in places like the Philippines, right? And you're doing a great thing for them because you're taking them out of a situation where they might actually be making less in a local office job, making $1 an hour here, working in a downtown office like Manila. So as much as you can, replace your low dollar per hour tasks with more high dollar per hour tasks and get more leads going with more sales and marketing activities, whether that's through podcasts, whether that is through however you do lead gen that's effective for you.
Well, great advice. I think every entrepreneur should take heed to that. And I did want to touch on what do you think about living in a place like Bali as an entrepreneur? Do you feel how do you compare it to when you were living in New York?
I love it. I love Bali. I love it as much as I love living in New York, and I never thought I would leave New York. So for me, it has a very similar energy in a way because while they are two totally different places, Bali has a spirit of adventure and excitement to it, very similar to me as New York did. And I would definitely recommend that if someone was living in a metropolitan city like New York or anywhere, and they were concerned about living in a place like Bali, well, trust your judgment. But you gotta look at Google Maps and see what place is vibing for you and where you can imagine yourself living and being happy, and trust your intuition.
The traffic is quite similar to New York, right?
traffic. People are disembodied. People are disconnected from themselves in Chingu. There's a lot of like shallowness in terms of aesthetics.
It's quite a few similarities.
Yeah, people always are like, it's so different. I'm like, a lot of things are similar.
We all have more palm trees there. So
yeah.
So I did want to ask you, are there any other, so someone that's starting off as an entrepreneur, like you were telling us your story about how you transitioned from your balloon business and then you went into your own thing. What about someone that's starting off today? They want to go on their own journey, become an entrepreneur, nomadic or not. Do you have any words of advice for them after all your experiences and all your years?
Is this someone who hasn't found their thing yet and they're looking for, they haven't found their core business? Or they just got into their core business?
Maybe they just got into their core business.
Okay. Well, so when you're just starting your first business, for me, the most important thing is that you are aligned with that business. Because if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And finding what you actually really enjoy is so critical. So as a hiring expert, as somebody who's seen people succeed or fail thousands of times, what I can tell you is the most important thing of you being successful in any given role or otherwise is that your personality, the way you're driven, is matched to how the role is designed. So the best way to do that is to look at what do you love to do? What could you do endlessly? What just gives you so much passion? You're so excited about it. You love it, right? What are you really, really good at? What are the things that people thank you for good at because it's almost invisible to them. They're just like, I can't believe everyone's not amazing at interior design. Like, weird. Right, I just go to IKEA and my place looks like a catalog. Yours not? Weird.
It should be natural, right?
Right, it should be easy, right? And so like a lot of the times we're blind to what we're good at. So you have to ask other people in your life and ask what people thank you for, see what people come to you for advice. And then you have to look at what problem could you solve for the world that would be ideally to your purpose, and where could you add value and help people in a substantial way. Though, one rule of thumb of how much money you're going to make in this world is how many people can you help solve a problem. And the more you can scale that, right, the more money you can make. Once you're aligned in a business, of course, there's so many strategies that will help you multiply yourself, many of the things we've talked about in this episode. But if you're not aligned, then what's going to happen is like what happened for my client. We were using every single strategy, right? All of her KPIs went up, but for whatever reason, she could not sell that program on the different topic. As soon as we switched her niche, right, doubled her income.
That's pretty wild.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Okay, no, that's great advice. I think, everybody should, especially if you don't know what you are good at or what you want to offer the world, it really, makes sense to take inventory of what people see you as an expert and what kind of comes naturally to you for sure. Is there anything else you want to add that maybe you haven't said or talked about today?
Do you have any things that we touched on lightly that you were curious about?
I do have a question. Where do you see yourself in the next 2 years?
Oh.
What's the future of Bonnie Fahy and where do you see yourself?
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great question. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, sure. So I really feel as though what I'm doing now is aligned, and I feel as though I was put onto this planet for many reasons, but one of those is to grow a large following. And first, I've helped, some of my clients gain 83,000 followers. I've been the behind the scenes woman who's helping creators who have 2 million followers clone their voices with AI, clone their scripting style. I've been supporting people like Mr. Grateful and his monetization. And because I've worked with so many bio creators, I'm like, it's my fucking time. It's my time. Let's go. So I feel like I have the tools now where I very clearly understand. So I do see myself blowing up and having a larger following, and then channeling that influence to not only help creators scale their own influence on this planet so we can help make a better world together, heal some of the many causes that are very much needing our attention. But I also see myself being someone who uses her platform to use her voice for helping with humanitarian causes, helping with animal rights, helping take some of the funds that I have for my business and creating just charitable assets to help, because there's so many places that need our help. And as digital nomads, I think you get to see that. And like, there's so many people you get to give back to. And so my hope is for anyone listening that you don't just enjoy the beautiful cocktail on the beach, but you see the person sitting next to you who maybe is only making like $1 an hour, and you give back to that person in whatever way feels good for you that day. It's really important.
Absolutely. I love that. That's amazing. I want to ask you about this because you recently got to, for the first time, see people you've been working with online in the Philippines after many, many years, and you got to see their families and the kids, and what was that experience like?
That was so great. Oh my God, that is so great. So I've been here in the Philippines, and I have gotten to meet so many of my team members, and I have to tell you, this is the part of my journey I expected to tell this story, and I'm so happy to tell it. So the reason I'm so happy to tell it is these are my most proud success stories. So I told you earlier, I've helped people make over $1 million in their business. I'm proud of that. I am more proud of the people I have worked with that started working at $2 an hour on Upwork, and now they make $60 an hour. Like, totally different life. I'm so proud of the gentleman I worked with who he worked with me for $8 an hour. Now he has a business with $30 a month overhead. So we know he's making 60 or 80. And he worked with me here in the Philippines for $8 an hour. So the things I teach about multiplying your revenue, they don't just apply to the entrepreneurs. They apply in their gift to people you get to work with as well. And so like meeting their families, like people in the Philippines are incredible. They all took me in like family, adorable children. Some of them were like reciting, like they were 5 years old and they were like reciting like geometry, like the theory of pi. I was like, okay, you're too much of a genius.
Pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah, pretty mind-blowing. So like reciting history and all this stuff. But to even just be a small ripple in their growth and being able to be somebody who got to pour into them, where so many of them said to me, Bonnie, thank you so much for believing in me. Thank you for pouring into me. Thanks for treating me like gold. Thanks for always telling me I could do anything I wanted. And like that spirit of seeing them multiply, like it fills up my whole heart.
That's amazing. That is super cool to hear, just because like, yeah, you get to actually see the effects of hiring and entrepreneurship and just allowing, and also not just being any employer, but also themselves really. So, and a lot of times you hear about like people saying, oh, it's not so fair to hire people for $2 an hour in another country. But this just goes to show you how like hiring somebody even at that rate can literally be what allows them to then grow into a much bigger business. You know, having overhead in a business and starting from $8 an hour, or now charging $60 an hour, and in the Philippines, that can really be super life-changing and go a really long way.
Yeah, it's just opening a door, and you get to raise them up, and they get to raise up themselves too along the way. But giving them the door to start with, and then obviously paying people fairly as their skills increase is important. But just that initial like first job you're giving to somebody, starting them at $3 an hour in a place like the Philippines, it's their first freelance gig. It might be literally twice what they would make here in an office.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you get to see these success stories. It definitely, I'm sure it makes it worthwhile for you. And is there anything else that you might want to say, or also like where can people find out more about you and what you're about?
Yeah, so I have a class that is happening right now, and I don't know that it's going to be around forever. So if you enjoyed this episode and you want to dive deeper into putting all this into a system to buy your business this year, definitely go to Live More Formula. I have a master class, and it is a legit step-by-step system to really help you double your income this year, work less, and really just live a better life. And so if that's interesting to you, go to Live More Formula. And if people want to connect with me personally, oh my God, I freaking love DMs. You can send me a DM, tell me you came from this show. I'll give you a big virtual hug. I want to know about you. Hi. So of course, please feel free to do that as well.
Definitely check out Bonnie's work. She knows what she's talking about. She's doing this for a long time. So thank you so much, Bonnie, for being on the show. It's been super cool to have you here. I'm wishing you lots of success. I'm sure you're going to do great, and I know you're going to blow up this year for sure. So it'll be cool to see that. And yeah, it was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That's amazing. Yay!
Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining for another episode of the Nomadic Millionaire Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed all the little details and all the strategies that you got out of this one. Make sure you guys drop a comment if you guys have any questions or comments. Make sure you like this video. As always, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you guys know when the next episode is up. Thanks again for watching, and see you guys on the next one.
Yay, it's
Awesome.
fun. Thank you for that. That was great.
Yeah, for sure. That was
You did
really
great.
good. Oh, thank you. I think you did great.